My child, pause for a moment and breathe. This is not an interruption, it is an invitation. I know exactly where you are sitting, what thoughts are moving through your heart, and what questions you have been afraid to ask out loud. You are not unseen. You are not overlooked. And you are not late. The stirring you feel inside you right now is not anxiety, it is recognition. Something in you knows this message is touching a place no one else has been able to reach. I want you to listen gently, without rushing, without fear, without doubt. Angels have carried your name into places you have never walked. Not because you begged, not because you proved yourself, but because your heart stayed soft even when life hardened around you. They have spoken your name not as a plea, but as a confirmation. Your name was mentioned in rooms you did not know existed. Your name was written where decisions are made that shift entire seasons. And you did not need to force it. I moved it. For a long time, you believed the place you were in was permanent. You thought the walls around you defined your future. You told yourself this house, this situation, this limitation, this familiar struggle, was all there would ever be. But I never intended for you to remain there. What felt like shelter slowly became confinement. What once felt safe began to feel small. And you wondered why your spirit felt restless even when nothing looked wrong on the outside. That restlessness was me. I was preparing you to move, not just in location, but in identity. Because I do not move people casually. I move them when they are ready to carry more peace, more responsibility, more joy, more truth. The next place is not just bigger, it is aligned. It matches who you are becoming, not who you used to be. You are not being pushed out. You are being called forward. I know leaving familiar ground feels uncomfortable. I know you have memories tied to the place you are standing now. I know there were moments of laughter there, moments of survival there, moments when you learned strength the hard way. I am not dismissing any of that. I honor every step you took to survive. But survival is not the destination. It was only the training ground. The angels did not take your name because you are weak. They took your name because you are ready. You have reached the end of a cycle that taught you humility, patience, and resilience. You have learned how to stand when support was missing. You have learned how to trust me even when answers were delayed. And now, the season is shifting from endurance to expansion. I am opening something new for you, not suddenly, not violently, but intentionally. What opens now is not a door you have to force. It opens because you finally stopped trying to convince yourself you belonged in a place that could no longer hold your growth. Do not be afraid of the unknown. I live there too. The new space I am preparing for you is not just physical, it is emotional, spiritual, and mental. It is a place where you will no longer feel like you are constantly catching up. It is a place where peace will feel natural instead of rare. It is a place where you will not have to dim your light to avoid conflict. It is a place where rest will not feel like guilt. You wondered why certain people drifted away. You wondered why conversations changed. You wondered why old dreams no longer satisfied you. It was not loss, it was alignment. Not everyone can walk with you into what is next, and that is not a punishment. It is simply truth. You are not losing anything meant for you. You are not missing out on anything destined for you. Everything real is moving with you. I know you sometimes worry that you waited too long, that you should have acted sooner, that you missed a window. Hear me clearly, I am not bound by time the way you are. Nothing I have planned for you has expired. Nothing I promised you has been withdrawn. The timing is not late, it is precise. What I ask of you now is not panic. It is presence. Be here. Be aware. Be open. When the next opportunity appears, do not dismiss it because it feels unfamiliar. When the next door opens, do not hesitate because it feels undeserved. When the next step becomes clear, do not shrink because it feels bigger than you imagined. I would not bring you to it if I had not already prepared you for it. Trust that I am not moving you away from safety. I am moving you into fullness. Your life is about to feel lighter, not because challenges disappear, but because you will no longer carry what was never yours to hold. You will notice your breath deepen. You will notice your sleep change. You will notice your heart responding with relief instead of tension. These are signs of alignment. Let go gently, move forward confidently. You are not alone in this transition. I am walking ahead of you, clearing what needs to be cleared, softening what needs to be softened. Strengthening you where you still doubt yourself, and when you look back one day, you will understand why staying was never an option. You were always meant to move. You were always meant to grow. You were always meant for more. If you feel peace reading this, that is your confirmation. Stay with me. There is more to come. That am why, child. I know exactly where you are right now. I know the walls you wake up between, the ceiling you stare at when sleep will not come, the familiar sounds that surround you every day. I know this place because I allowed you to be here for a season. But I must tell you something gently and clearly, this season is ending. What once sheltered you is now restricting you. What once felt safe is now too small for the version of you that is rising. And that stirring you feel inside, the restlessness you cannot explain, the sense that something is about to change, that is not imagination. That is movement. I have spoken your name, not once, not twice, but repeatedly, intentionally, lovingly, and when your name was spoken, the angels listened. They did not take your name to frighten you. They took your name to position you. They took your name because something new is being prepared, and you cannot remain where you are and still receive what is coming. I am not removing you from a place of punishment. I am moving you from a place of preparation into a place of expansion. You think this message is about a house, but it is about more than walls and doors. It is about identity. It is about growth. It is about leaving a version of life that no longer reflects who you are becoming. Sometimes I allow comfort to remain until it begins to limit courage. Sometimes I allow familiarity to stay until it begins to delay obedience. And now, I am calling you forward. You have stayed longer than you should have because you were loyal, because you were afraid of disrupting peace, because you did not want to disappoint anyone, including yourself. But understand this, staying past the season I assigned will always create discomfort, even if the place once felt like home. That discomfort is not anxiety, it is alignment calling you higher. You are not being pushed out, you are being lifted. The reason this feels sudden is because you have been prepared quietly. I have been strengthening your discernment. I have been sharpening your voice. I have been loosening your attachment to things you once depended on. And you may not have noticed, but you have already changed. The conversations you tolerate are different now. The energy you allow near you is different now. The dreams that wake you up are different now. That is because the space you are in was designed for an earlier version of you. Do not mistake delay for denial. Do not mistake silence for absence. I was waiting for you to be ready, not perfect, not fearless, but willing. Willing to trust that when I move you with intention. Willing to believe that when I close one door, it is because another already stands open. You are not losing stability, you are stepping into purpose. What I am opening for you will not collapse beneath your feet. It will not demand you shrink. It will not require you to betray your values to belong. It will feel unfamiliar at first, yes, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. Growth always feels strange before it feels natural. You may be wondering why now. Because you are strong enough now. Because you will not run back now. Because you will not doubt yourself the way you once did. Because you finally understand that obedience is not about fear, it is about trust. The angels did not take your name to rush you. They took your name to clear the way. They are arranging details you cannot see yet. They are aligning timing you could not control. They are opening doors you did not even know to knock on. And I am asking you to open your heart, not in panic, not in desperation, but in faith. Do not cling to what feels familiar just because it feels known. Do not stay small just because expansion feels uncertain. Do not ignore the pull in your spirit telling you that this is not the end, but the beginning. I am not taking you away from something good. I am leading you toward something greater. Rest in that, trust in that, and stay present, because what unfolds next will confirm everything I have whispered to your soul. My child, pause where you are. Take a breath. Let your spirit settle, because what I am about to say is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. I have seen you pacing through the same rooms of your life, rearranging the same furniture of habits, emotions, and hopes, wondering why something still feels unfinished. You have prayed inside those walls. You have cried inside those walls. You have grown inside those walls. And now, something sacred is happening. something you sense before you had words for it. The angels have spoken your name, not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly. Your name was carried upward with care, because heaven recognized that the space you are in has completed its assignment. What once sheltered you can no longer contain who you are becoming. What once felt safe now feels tight. What once felt familiar now feels restless. That is not dissatisfaction, it is readiness. I am not asking you to abandon your life. I am inviting you to expand it. There comes a moment when growth no longer looks like fixing what exists, but stepping toward what is forming. You have tried to make peace with staying. You have tried to convince yourself that this is enough. But your spirit keeps leaning forward. That is not ambition. It is alignment. The angels did not take your name to remove you from comfort. They took your name to move you toward clarity. You may still call it a house, but I see it as a season. You may see walls, but I see limits you've already outgrown. You may feel unsure, but heaven feels certain. You have learned what you needed to learn here. You have healed what could be healed here. You have given what you were meant to give here. And now, the invitation is not to rush, but to respond. Do not confuse stillness with stagnation. Do not confuse patience with delay. And do not confuse fear with intuition. If your heart feels quiet but alert, that is me. If your thoughts feel clearer when you imagine something new, that is me. If your soul exhales when you stop forcing yourself to stay the same, that is me. You are not being pushed out, you are being called forward. The next place is not just a location. It is a way of living. It is a posture of the heart. It is a space where you will no longer have to explain your growth or defend your boundaries. It is a place where you will not feel guilty for wanting peace, stability, joy, or expansion. And no, you are not ungrateful for wanting more. You are faithful for trusting that I can do more. The angels know the timing. They are not impatient. They are precise. They see connections forming that you cannot yet see. They see provision aligning. They see doors opening in ways that feel ordinary on the surface but sacred underneath. Nothing will be taken from you before it is replaced. Nothing will be removed without purpose. Nothing will be lost. What feels like leaving is actually arriving. I know you worry about how it will happen. I know you replay the what-ifs at night. I know you measure your readiness against your resources and wonder if you are enough. But readiness is not about having every answer. It is about trusting the one who does. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time. The reason this moment feels tender is because your heart is already loosening its grip on what was. You may still sleep there. You may still stand there physically. But spiritually, you are already packing light. Do not rush yourself. Do not doubt yourself. Do not silence the gentle pull forward just because it doesn't come with a full map. I go before you. The angels walk beside you. And your next chapter is not waiting to trap you. It is waiting to welcome you. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay honest with what your spirit is telling you. You are not being taken away from safety. You are being guided toward fullness, and when you look back one day, you will realize that the moment you stopped resisting the call was the moment peace truly began. Trust me, I have not brought you this far to leave you uncertain. I am leading you home, into a new sense of it, my beloved child. I want you to slow your breath for a moment and let these words settle into your spirit. This message did not reach you by coincidence. Your name has been spoken in places you cannot see, whispered with intention, carried with care. Angels have carried your name, not because you are in danger, not because you are failing, but because you are ready to move. What once felt like comfort has begun to feel tight, and what once felt familiar has begun to feel small. That is not restlessness. That is readiness. I have seen you standing in the same place for longer than your heart desired. You stayed because you believed patience meant stillness. You stayed because loyalty mattered to you. You stayed because you thought waiting was the same as trusting. But there comes a moment when trust means movement, when faith means stepping forward instead of holding on. And that moment has arrived. Your house is not just walls and rooms. It is a mindset. It is a version of yourself that once protected you, once sheltered you, once gave you safety. But the season has changed. What sheltered you before cannot stretch to hold what I am placing inside you now. That is why your spirit has felt restless even when your life looked stable. That is why peace has felt interrupted. That is why your heart keeps asking questions your mind cannot answer. Angels have taken your name because heaven responds when growth reaches its threshold. When the container is no longer large enough, the overflow must move. This is not a punishment. This is expansion. You are not being pushed out. You are being invited forward. You have prayed for more clarity, more peace, more purpose. But purpose does not always come gently, it often comes honestly. And the honest truth is that you have outgrown where you are standing. You cannot become who you are meant to be by staying where you learned how to survive. Survival was never the final destination. You were never meant to only endure. You were meant to live fully. You may be wondering what the new place truly is. It is not just a physical space, though for some, physical movement will come. It is a new posture of the soul. A new way of seeing yourself. A new willingness to receive without guilt. A new confidence that no longer asks permission to exist. I am calling you into alignment with your truth, alignment with your value, alignment with the future that has been waiting patiently while you doubted your readiness. You have been afraid of moving too soon, of choosing wrong, of losing what you already have. But hear me clearly, you will not lose what is meant for you. What falls away was never designed to move with you. What stays will feel lighter, freer, and more real. The door that is opening now does not require force. It requires awareness. It requires presence. It requires you to stop dismissing the quiet nudges as coincidence. Nothing about this moment is accidental. Your soul already knows. You have felt the stirring. You have sensed the shift. You have noticed that old patterns no longer satisfy you. That is because I am doing something new in you, not suddenly, but surely. Do not be afraid of change when it arrives with peace. Do not resist growth when it comes with clarity. Do not cling to familiarity when your spirit is asking for more room. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not unworthy. You are right on time. What feels like urgency is simply alignment catching up with intention. Heaven moves when hearts are ready, not when fear pushes them. You are not being rushed, you are being welcomed. Let go of the belief that you must have everything figured out before you move. Faith has never required full understanding, only willingness. The next step will reveal itself when you release the need to see the entire path. Trust is built one step at a time. You do not walk alone. I am with you. The angels guiding your name do not rush. They prepare. They do not pressure. They protect. And they are not taking you away from safety. They are leading you into it. Rest in that truth. If your heart feels tender right now, that is because it is opening. If your eyes feel heavy, that is because something old is releasing. If your breath feels deeper, that is because peace is entering. This is not the end of something good. This is the beginning of something right. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay willing. What is unfolding will meet you exactly where you are, and when you look back, you will understand why this moment mattered. My child, your name has not been forgotten. It has not been misplaced, delayed, or overlooked. It has been spoken in places you cannot see, carried beyond walls you thought defined you, lifted beyond limits you believed were permanent. Angels have taken your name, not to frighten you, not to rush you with fear, but to move you, to reposition you, to guide you out of what has grown too small for the soul you are becoming. You have lived in this house for longer than you were meant to. And I am not speaking only of bricks or rooms or addresses. I am speaking of patterns, beliefs, roles, expectations, emotional spaces, and silent agreements you made when you were still learning your worth. You learned how to survive there. You learned how to adapt. You learned how to be strong in silence. But survival was never your final destination. There comes a moment when protection turns into limitation. There comes a moment when what once sheltered you begins to restrict you. And there comes a moment when heaven gently intervenes, not to destroy what was, but to invite you into what is next. Your name has been called because you are ready, not perfect, not fearless. Ready, you have felt the stirring, the restlessness that no comfort could quiet, the sense that staying feels heavier than moving, even though moving feels unfamiliar. You wondered if you were ungrateful. You wondered if something was wrong with you for wanting more. But this longing did not come from emptiness. It came from alignment beginning to form. Angels do not carry names lightly. They carry them with intention. And when your name was lifted, it was lifted with care, with clarity, with purpose. Not to push you out abruptly, but to prepare you gently. That is why things around you have been shifting slowly. That is why conversations changed. That is why doors didn't slam, but quietly stopped opening. That is why you began to feel less at home in places you once tried so hard to belong. You are not losing ground.